Hi, I'm Sarah Cowgill, along with Andrew Moran, Jeff Charles, Jim Fight, and Graham Noble. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Ron DeSantis is the heir apparent. Well, at least according to the left-biased media. How else could you possibly explain full frontal attacks on a man who is yet to declare whether he'll run for president? Perhaps the media has declared Trump DOA and have shifted focus to the good governor of Florida. You're down there. What do you say, Sir Charles? What's going on?
Well, I mean, like I've said before, these days, every night before Democrats go to sleep, they check under their beds to make sure DeSantis or Trump isn't down there to get them. But they are afraid of DeSantis. And I've written about this in the past. I do think that even though they're trying to make sure that Trump doesn't run, there are at least some Democrats who view DeSantis as a bigger threat. And I tend to agree because DeSantis, like I've always said, he has a lot of Trump's strengths and none of his weaknesses. He doesn't have the same type of baggage. He doesn't get into silly Twitter feuds. He doesn't have an indictment looming against him after the midterms. He doesn't have the FBI searching his home, at least not yet. But DeSantis is a more politically savvy version of Trump. I mean, I heard somebody else say that, when Trump came into office, he had to learn how to use the leverage of government to get his agenda across because he wasn't a politician. But DeSantis has been in Congress. He's been governor. He knows how the swamp works. So I do think that they are more afraid of DeSantis because DeSantis at some point is going to run for president, whether he does so in 2024 or in 2028. I think if Trump does decide to throw his hat in the ring, DeSantis probably won't. But again, we don't know what's going to happen with Trump. We don't know whether he's DOA or not. I mean, right now it's looking kind of precarious, but we don't know what they're going to come out with after the midterms. So I think at this point, they are looking more at DeSantis for that reason, because they think that there is a chance that they may be able to push Trump into not running.
Graham wants to piggyback on that. What do you got, Graham?
Well, yeah, no, I don't disagree with what Jeff is saying, but I also think there's another factor at play here. And I almost think the whole thing, because let's face it, if Trump really was as incompetent, corrupt, dishonest, and all the other things that the left-wing media and left-wing activists and Democrats have been saying about him all these years, then surely they would want him to run again because he's like the most vulnerable presidential candidate ever. You know, you'd think they'd almost be encouraging, almost begging him to run again because it would be so easy for them to defeat him, apparently. So, you have to ask the question, well, why do they still hate and or fear Trump? And I think a lot of it is that, the people on the left are very emotional. And I think it's almost got to the point where this is, it's symbolic. They've hated, Orange Man bads. They've promoted this now for so many years that I believe if Trump were to actually officially announced that he's running again, and then he were to win the Republican nomination, which I think he would if he ran again, and then he were to become president again, it would be the ultimate kick in the teeth to the left. They would just hate the fact that this man is back again in the White House. And so I think more than anything else now, it's become emotional with them that they're now focusing on DeSantis because they want to hope and they want to convince everyone else that, okay, Trump's done. We vanquished him and he is gone. And I believe that's what they're kind of hoping.
I also think, too, that they remember that they underestimated Trump in 2016. They're not trying to make that mistake again.
I mean, isn't the whole goal to discredit or to, slap some kind of felony on him so that he's ineligible to run? I mean, that seems to be their game plan. I mean, are they going to try to take two giant, important, powerful Republicans out at the same time? That seems kind of foolhardy. I don't see how they can do either one of them.
Well, here's the question. If they do manage to hit Trump with a criminal charge, can he still run for president? There's nothing in the Constitution says he can't.
He has to be convicted, I think.
That's something that we might have to one day pick the brains of our legal expert, Scott D. Cosenza Esquire, on.
Yeah, he's around
because,
somewhere. We can always track
he's
him
probably
down.
lurking in the background somewhere. But even if he was indicted and convicted of something, would that actually prevent him? Is he then ineligible to run for president? I'm not really sure. I may be wrong, but I personally think that doesn't actually, technically, that doesn't disqualify him from running for president.
The media's MO is that no matter who the Republican Party nominee is, that person is always worse than Hitler. It's always the worst thing to ever happen in United States politics. When Mitt Romney ran for president, he was literally Hitler in 2012. Donald Trump was literally Hitler. I'm waiting for someone else to say that Ron DeSantis is the next Weimar Republic dictator. So every GOP nominee always has this negative image. Look at Joe Biden. He said that if Mitt Romney was elected president, he put all black people back in chains, put y'all back in chains, when all that happens. So no matter who it is, that GOP nominee is getting the next Hitler, next Mussolini, next Mao Zedong. Well, not Mao Zedong because the mini Maos and the establishment love communism, but overall, they're all the next, worst thing in the world.
Well, there won't be any more literally Hitlers because that Trump was the last one, right? So now it's Trump 2.0. That's the new term. So you've got Trump worse than Hitler.
Yes, literally Hitler 2.0.
Literally Hitler.
You've got Trump worse than Hitler.
How far can we go with this?
So you gotta progress it. You gotta progress it, or it's just going to be stale. So now that's why DeSantis is Trump 2.0. He's Trump, but worse.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Or Trump, but better, according to I think wasn't that what you said, Jeff? He's got all the Trump national.
Yeah,
national America First qualities and none of
and the thing about it is that the base would support either with the same amount of fervor. I mean, if Trump runs, the base is going to support him. If it's DeSantis, they'll support him passionately too, because they love DeSantis and they love Trump.
Also on the left, you've got a lot of wishful thinking and affirmations. I mean, there's an old saying, nobody loves what they fear. And, I think a lot of this, trying to discredit Trump and taking on DeSantis, and now DeSantis is going to be the new Trump. I think a lot of that's just wishful thinking.
I think Trump's going to be the kingmaker, though. This is the way I look at it. Okay, is that Trump and DeSantis get on perfectly well, and I'm quite sure that if, say, I can't, personally can't imagine Trump actually coming out and saying, okay, I've decided against running for president again, although that's possible. But let's say that Trump doesn't run and DeSantis does. I believe that Trump will give DeSantis his full backing. And I think Trump needs to bring his star power, if you like, would need to bring his star power fully into the spotlight in support of DeSantis. And I believe that, because Trump still stirs up a lot of emotion amongst conservatives. I mean, they have these, vehicle convoys and boat flotillas and all this kind of stuff. They were so emotional about supporting Trump that DeSantis, I believe, would, despite the fact that he's got a great record and he's very savvy and all the rest of it, I think he would need that. I think he would need Trump to channel all that emotion that his supporters had for him, for Trump. He would need to channel that and kind of project it onto DeSantis. And I believe he would try to do that. And I think if he did, DeSantis would have a very good chance of winning.
DeSantis is very on the national stage at this point, and so wherever he's going to go is going to be amazing. And I just don't know where that's going to be. But he's taken on Disney. That got him national attention. He's flying people to Martha's Vineyard. That got him national attention. He's kind of grabbed on the coattails of other good public relations when it comes to the conservative movement. Now, if Trump was not to run, but back DeSantis, there will be stadium-filled rallies all over this country, and so that could be the biggest power shift that we're going to see in a while. He could actually make that big of a dent.
And going on from that, I think DeSantis also, you're right, he has become now, he's on the national stage firmly. And I think he also should maybe send a little thank you note to the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, because how many Democrat voters in California really knew much about DeSantis or really cared much about him, or Florida, which I'm sure they look upon Florida as the poor man's California. How many of them really cared? But then, Gavin Newsom decided to pick this fight with DeSantis. And that's, that kind of made that brought DeSantis's name to the West Coast as well. So little box of chocolates or something, or maybe a little present of some new hair gel or something that DeSantis should maybe send to Mr. Newsom there.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing Newsom could have done. He's making himself look like he's obsessed with DeSantis. He channels him to a debate last week. I'm like, well, you are using DeSantis to raise your star. How does that make you look that you can't do it on your own?
Add something that Sarah said before. Also, if you want to add another list of achievements, he declared war on the ECG investing industry. So he's going after Wall Street. So I think that's another notch under his belt there.
Yeah, but you got to get that word out there, and they're only going to focus on the bad because we know how that works. Oh boy. Well, we got to go. Is Ron DeSantis just a clone of Donald Trump? Seems to be the picture the activist media wants to paint. But we here at Liberty Nation will let you, the American people, decide for yourselves. Thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform. YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, we're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to surf on over to libertynation.com. Join us on the member zone, just $17.76 for the whole year. Special thanks to our fantastic editor and post coordinator, Frank Diorio. I'm Sarah Cowgill, filling in for Lisa K. Donner. Thanks for joining us today. This has been a production of libertynation.com, where truth is making a comeback.